Hello and welcome back to today's Hurricane Outlook and discussion, recorded on the 14th of November 2020. Today we're going to be discussing Tropical Storm Iota that has been getting more organised throughout this morning and evening, and now we have a hurricane watch in effect for Honduras and Nicaragua again. It feels like just last week we was here and we were. Unfortunately, there is also a Tropical Storm watch in effect for the south tip of Honduras as well, and a tropical storm warning in effect for these islands down here, and a hurricane warning in effect as well, and a hurricane warning a hurricane watch on as well as that tropical storm warning. So we are pretty much packed on with the warnings today so far. If we take a look at the sea surface temperatures real quick, where this storm is going to be going through, it's pretty much generally, this is the skin surface temperatures of the sea, so generally 29 degrees all through here. This storm's going to have a lot of warmth to deal with, and there's a lot of operation heat content around here as well. We are trying to get, there's still some uncertainty with the track, as there always is, I think 3 to 4 days out now. We are away from a landfall, but what we are seeing today is that most of the models have come down south a bit more, as we don't have a completely organised system yet. But what we do have now is we probably have the mid-level and low-level centres stacked, so the columns, the two low centres are vertically stacked on each other, so now it can intensify more rapidly if conditions allow us to, and we are seeing that going to be occurring, as there's going to be low wind shear, good sea surface temperatures, and good operation heat content. And what we have seen with the models track 1801 is the hail trough has came down from being up north and coming across the coastline, and unfortunately coming into Nicaragua and Honduras again. If we take a look at the true colour satellite loop today, what we've seen is we've had like a south-sided convection lob system, so most of the deepest convection has been to the south, and not much deep convection has been firing over the northwest side, as there's been a trough that's been located through here that's just been bringing some westerly wind shear. As soon as this abates and the wind shear becomes less, we will have some more thunderstorms firing up, as we will see in this run out of this loop. As I bring you into the night time tonight, we see that more convection has been firing over the centre, and there's more convection firing around the whole place now. It's not completely symmetrical, but we are now starting to see deep convection firing on the north side, south side, east and west side, but the west still needs some work. But as diurnal maximum comes in, we should get more convection around the centres and all the way around, and we might have a symmetric storm by tomorrow morning or afternoon. If I take you to the GFS model, we can see what's been happening throughout today. If I back you up 12 hours today, so this is 6 AM this morning, we had our system down here, located down here, and it's not really moved that much as we go out at the 6 hours one. It's just been drifting around here and pretty much not moving anywhere, as the steering flow hasn't been strong enough to make them move. But what we are going to see as we go out from now, this high pressure is going to be building eastwards, and this would allow for the storm to start moving westward, as the general steering flow will be out of the west, as this high pressure wind rotates around like in this fashion. So we got winds going all around, and this will push the storm west. As we move out in the model, we can see, if I bring you out to the 12-hour mark, the storm becomes more organised in the atmosphere, and by 36-hour mark, we've got a pretty good strong system. Not saying it's not strong down here, but we probably got a Cat 2 hurricane by this point, or maybe a bit stronger, but we are seeing this become more organised in the atmosphere. We got high pressure sitting over here, pushing it westwards, and then we got another high pressure building over here, trying to push it to the south, as well as a jet stream up here with a trough located down here. So what we will be seeing is, as this high pressure is trying to push it down. We also see some north, um, what's it called? Yeah, north to south push as well from this trough that's located in somewhere from here. We will get this system to dive southwards as it will on the model as I bring you out. So near landfall time, we've got a system just unfortunately probably like 50 miles away from where Hurricane Iota made landfall. So more heavy rain and unfortunately storm surge, strong winds for Nicaragua and Honduras. But what we are seeing is this high pressure is that building in across and is now pushing this system south as this high pressure abates more eastwards. As I show you on the models, you see that it gets pushed, kind of it gets made landfall and gets pushed south just ever so slightly, and will pop out in the eastern Pacific and probably be dissipated by this time as we go in the model. We can see it kind of dissipates, and what we get is maybe some leftover energy. No, leftover energy in the eastern Pacific. But what we will have to watch as we get this system comes over to Honduras, we'll be getting this kind of gyre setup, and then we might need to watch this part of energy down here as this rotates around this, and we could see another system spin up, unfortunately, in the central Caribbean, but this is too far out to say, so we'll not focus on this. We'll focus on the fact that Iota is expected to be a major hurricane at landfall. That's why those hurricane warnings and watches are in effect, even in effect. If we take a look at the wind shear for the next 5 days, we can start. What we've seen today is that trough that I was talking about, just introducing some westerly wind shear. But as we move out in time, we can start to see that the storm is more organised, and what we get is this general anticyclonic flow around the system, and maybe a dual channel outflow starting to set up as we get this here and this anticyclonic flow. We can also watch for another outflow channel maybe forming somewhere on this back side of the storm if the system has more time to work with that. If we carry on going out, we can only see that the system becomes more organised and deepens, it's deepening faster as we got that dual channel outflow that I was talking about, and this anticyclonic flow over here. So this storm has got two good healthy outflows. So this will mean some more intense thunderstorms firing near the centre, and what this unfortunately is going to be causing more fall and pressure and stronger winds concentrating near the centre. As we carry on going on time, what we see on the GFS is that it's not it still has its healthy outflow, but maybe starting to degrade its second outflow channel as it approaches makes landfall. If we take you to the European model, we can see pretty much the same thing with the GFS. It's an agreement that, well, it's kind of an agreement, but it dips south and more. It's more south as the Euro is seen as a weaker system as it approaches. As we can see on the model, it's made landfall just a bit more southwards than the GFS has. So this is going to be probably still strong and going to bring catastrophic damage, unfortunately, to Nicaragua and Honduras, and unfortunately storm surge, wind and lots of rain. I think again, locally 30 inches of rain could fall again, unfortunately. But a good thing is that this is not. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as slow as Hurricane Iota as we go to the 96-hour mark. It's over the mountains and kind of dissipated, but still bringing rain and more things. If we take a look at the H-roll of power, we see the same solution in the 500 millibar level. We can see those high pressures that I was talking about generally sitting over Florida, and it's moving eastwards, and so this is going to allow the system to start moving westwards. And if it does become more stronger in the short term, we could see the storm just move a bit more north and then come in and make landfall as a high pressure building over Texas and Mexico tries to push it southwards, as we see on the GFS model. But the H-Wolf is in agreement with the GFS model that this storm becomes more organised, becomes more catastrophic, unfortunately, for Nicaragua and Honduras. But what we can see is what I just discussed, that the storm's coming more northwards and just scraping the coastline as the system's stronger in the short term, and the high pressure I was talking about on the GFS is seen on the H wall, and maybe this front pushing some more, and then this high pressure building over, pushing it southwards. So we're going to have a lot of southward steering flow. So unfortunately, Honduras and Nicaragua are going to be in the firing line for the next 5 days, unfortunately, of 3 to 4 days. If we carry on with the model, what we can see is eventually it just rides the coastline and keeps riding until that until until the until it dissipates over the mountains. So we can see that it finally gets pushed more southwards as this high pressure builds over the Gulf of Mexico. As it's building over, we can get that southwesterly steering flow. If I show you the H-bar model and the 10 millibar winds, this is pretty much off above the surface, and as I go out in time, we can only see the sun by the 24-hour mark. So this is 6 p.m. Sunday morning. Oh, no, 6 p.m. nighttime on Sunday. We can see that the system is now probably have a hurricane by tomorrow morning or afternoon, and this is approaching now probably only Cat 2 status on this model run. As we kind of go in time, skip to the next 48 hours, we can see the system has pretty much probably gone under some rapid intensification through the tomorrow morning and midday, and by this time this is probably sitting maybe 400 miles away from the coastline. Maybe actually I'll check that for you. If I shift and then I don't know, 75 miles away from the coastline. And it's going to be bringing, maybe start to see some of the outer bands of this system. Maybe see some outer bands of the system starting to approach the coastline. As we carry on going on the time, we can see that thing, the H1 is kind of in agreement with the H12, that it is going to be starting to push just probably a bit northwards and maybe come in and make landfall on Honduras, the south eastern tip of Honduras, as we see in the model run. But on the model run, we can see that it comes and makes landfall and bringing catastrophic damage as it will just make rides pretty much inland and start to dissipate and weaken, as many storms do as they interact with land, as they're not getting their main source of energy. What we consider though is going to be hanging around for a few days, probably bringing heavy rain and some gusty winds once it's inland, but we are expecting some catastrophic damage as it makes an approach on landfall. As on this run it peaks out at 135 knots, so I think that's around 150 to 155 miles. That is a borderline Cat 4, I mean a high-end Cat 4, maybe borderline Cat 5, but this is 54 hours out. It's not out of the question. It depends how fast we get in a call tonight and see how much it can rapidly intensify on an approach to landfall. We are expecting that it could be rapidly intensifying until landfall, as the favourable conditions as I discussed on the model: low wind shear, good sea surface temperatures, and good operation heat content. So unfortunately, this again looks to be a deja vu moment with Hurricane Iota just over now a week ago, where they got impacted, and now they're seeing another major hurricane making landfall. I think that's about it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow.